Say no to a ghost existence and say yes to an existence that is full of effort, full of belief, full of great attitude, and a lot of success. Welcome back, creative community, to Open Class Doodles, episode 16. I can't believe it that we're running so fast into this year and discovering so many beautiful pockets of creativity, having so many great creators on the show, and trying to sing the good gospel and to preach, what's really valuable and what is the most intrinsic value that we love to propose to our audience. So therefore, welcome back to the COACHMC studio, everybody. This is the place where we'll help you actors, performers, entertainers, public speakers, sellers, pitchers, all of you crazy, beautiful, creative people out there, to stand out in the audition room with remarkable behavior deliveries, with intriguing and compelling storytelling attributes, and with a great display of artistic weapons. And today, without any further ado, I want to jump into this, I hope, very short and very condensed, but also very concentrated, focused, and full of value type of episode, because today we're going to deliver the magic of focus, effort, and attitude, and what it will bring to us in our lives, into our personal lives, and also into our performance lives. So without any further ado, let's jump into today's video and let's see what's cooking. Success is a list of very, very obvious things, right? But in the end, whether or not it is success or it is business or it's strictly you performing a couple of things during the week, during the month, during the year that will give you pleasure, that will help you to stand out in the audition room, that will help you to improve. These obvious things, they don't come for free. There are obvious things that we do need, right, to perform in order to kind of get the result that we want from ourselves. But, let's ask ourselves, what are the results that we're asking from ourselves, right? What is it that we actually want, need, love, and desire the most in this life? And so welcome everybody to this brand new episode. Welcome to the chat. Michela Murzilli, ciao Lori, ciao a te. There is Sylvia Glitch. Hello, Lorenzo. Hello back to you. I want to welcome also everybody on Facebook and Instagram and the YouTube community as well. It's a blast having you here. We already have 5 likes. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I mean that wholeheartedly and not ironically. It's so great because sometimes even after 90 minutes, we're battling for a couple of likes. Today, we're right off the bat, we're jumping with. And this is, to me, like a trust incentive from you guys, right? This is receiving trust from you and like the benefit of already kind of walked a little bit by my side during this year. And maybe, hopefully, you've learned a little bit too. And I'm always learning from you guys. And if you love to learn even more, we have our next open class that it's, of course, the next masterclass that we're going to have. This is the open class again. So we have a beautiful masterclass coming up. And I hope you guys just register with the Eventbrite link that we have down there in the description, right? It's right there. And you can find it also through my link trees on my Instagram. And this masterclass is always a great opportunity to come together for a couple of hours and work like deeply concentrated on getting better as well, asking questions. So it's always a great opportunity to network, and I highly recommend for you, there it is, to stop by. It's March 16th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, you can find the beautiful links in the description or through my Instagram, which I highly recommend you also to subscribe to, because on Instagram, I post almost daily stuff. There's a lot of video, a lot of art going on, a lot of extemporary right material, so always come back to that as well. Hi Nina Lee, welcome. How are you guys? Hopefully everything kind of serves you well. So yes, definitely register and swing by to the next open masterclass. Registered, you can register yourself for free. So today it's focus, effort, and attitude. We could also say belief, action, result, or like I also like to say, is when you have a talent and you have consistency, usually you get to success. It's really that easy. And buonasera a te, Barbara. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much, man. It's beautiful to have all these beautiful guests, Nina, Sylvia, Michaela, and also the people on Instagram and Facebook joining the show. It's great. Hopefully we give you entertain, and we're gonna give you some info nuggets on how to perform better, because know it, guys, fact of the matter is, whether you're an actor or a performer or just a regular person, acting, communicating, standing in front of the camera, interacting with people a bit more smoothly, and also communicating your ideas, doesn't matter which sector you're operating, is a huge leverage. It's a huge leverage for your success. So even if you are not necessarily or technically from the acting market or the performance market, just stick around. There might be some info nuggets and also some questions that might arise that are, maybe also helpful to your endeavors, whatever your endeavors might be. So definitely kind of, stick with me, because I always say this, it's a skill. We are surrounded by screens. Everybody is looking at us. We get, definitely watched, right? In a good way and also in a bad way. Of course, there's overexposure of screens. Of course, there's too much control. Of course, there are too many cameras. But on the good side, this whole thing is like an open audition all the time anyways, right? There's always an audition going on as soon as you step out of your house. As soon as you step out of your comfort zone, it's an audition. So you never know how these skills that we learn over here might come handy one day, right? Might come in like very, very usefully. Hey, Jimmy, what's up? So what is focus, effort, attitude? I think it is a very easy concept. You see, when you go into the old teachings, let's say Sun Tzu, right? The Art of War, he breaks down some of the chapters to win a war in a very easy to understandable way. And this is not warmonger type of literature, right? Sun Tzu is deeply philosophical. It's very interesting how he analyzes his opponent. And this is something that I've actually prepared for a client. This is a direct excerpt of the work that I also do daily to daily basis, with my beautiful students and clients. So if you want to join the training over here, make sure to jump to readytoperform.com and hit me up with a free masterclass discovery session request. Or if you have something already specific in mind that you want to work on, whether it's your self-tape, whether it's like improving your show reel, or maybe working on a dramatic monologue, something that is a bit out of your ballpark and you want to tackle new material, dust off your old toolbox or insert new tools, right, in your freshly branded toolbox, make sure to check us out. But the thing over here with Sun Tzu is that these pieces of literature, they are timeless, and you can apply them like classical music. You can transform them, you can mutate them, you can emulate them, and just by tweaking them a little bit, you can definitely translate them, to modern endeavors as well. So let's take a look at what Sun Tzu said about tackling the next battle and winning battle after battle in order to win the war, right? So very interestingly, Sun Tzu asks the moral compass question first, right? He asks you directly, hey, it's not about your men, it's not about your firepower, it's definitely not about, your strategic value or reputation. It's not about what you look to be, it's who you are on a human core level. So Sun Tzu asks us, who am I, right? So this is my moral compass. This is out of the 5 elements that I need in order to win a battle. This is the highest one. This is the highest grade. This is the first reward that you should receive. Therefore, he asks us this very important question. And, I just want to, give this question back to you guys in the creative community on Instagram or Facebook. Guys, really, type it down right now. Who are you guys? Just take your time. And think about this, who am I? How can I describe myself? Do I have a funny tagline? Do I have something spiritual that describes me? Is it something materialistic? What can I say right off the bat who I am? And of course, when I'm asking about the moral compass, I'm asking questions more or less of the stuff that you own in terms of materialistic good. Yes, it's important to know how many weapons you have, how many instruments you could use, for sure. So the count of your weapons, according to Sun Tzu, is truly important, but it is how you use those weapons. And the usage of your weapons, of your instruments, always comes from a place of the mental attitude. How do I want to perform using this weapon? Like, look at this beautifully crafted ninja sword. Look at this piece of art, this craftsmanship on highest level, the dedication, the effort, and the focus that a swordman, that the master of his craft, right, needs to kind of build and forge and wield and create that sword, right? It's thousands of hours. So in Eastern training, when we approach the sword, first of all, we don't get to touch the sword like firsthand and immediately. We get like a wooden club. In samurai training, you get the sword later on when you are really, deemed worthy to touch such a masterpiece. So what does that say on a moral compass level? That means that the level of focus that I need to put in finding out who I am and what my values are needs to be as high as the things that I want to achieve. If I want to achieve incredible things for myself, then of course my moral compass should be the highest as well. I have to match those summit points. Like Arnold says in his beautiful documentary, Arnold Schwarzenegger's documentary on Netflix, and we covered that on our YouTube channel. Make sure to check it out. I think it's a truly funny review and also a great documentary. Like, really, no part. And he always talks about the concept that once you're on a summit point, you're looking to the next summit point, and you want to get to that summit point now. And then once you're there, you see the next one, because if you are on that level, you finally see the peaks that you usually don't get to see when you're down there. So ask yourself, what is my moral compass? Hey, Hypno is on the show. Thanks so much for stopping by, boss. Yes, what's our moral compass? We talk about this on the show on Saturday Night Hypnosis every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course, being guest on this prestigious and beautiful channel full of bigots. And he's our bigot leader. Yes, and we always ask our channel, this is our 80th show that we're going to approach this weekend. We should do something special. And yeah, we always ask ourselves this when we're talking about bad entertainment. How is it possible that we have bad entertainment? Because probably while approaching scripts, the moral compass was not high enough. The working attitude was not high enough. The value that we can transmit was not clear. So once we know what our moral compass is, we know exactly how we're gonna, what we're gonna lay out. And so Sun Tzu asks us to realize and to reflect about 4 pillars, right? What should I do tomorrow? So what is to do? How should my troops be feeded, organized, logistically moved? All that stuff needs to happen tomorrow. So yes, I have beautiful goals. I want to create a great empire. And for thousands of years, the sun will never set on my territory. Yeah, that's a beautiful vision. Okay, that's a great stretch goal. But what you going to do tomorrow, dude? It's like, what's your mission tomorrow? You want to become a great actor? What's your tomorrow training? You want to win an Oscar? How is your training schedule for the week looking like? Like, what is it that you like to invest in order to receive, right? To be invested. The amount of investment, it should be proportional to the scale of investment that you should receive as well, right? So another very important thing about focus, effort, and attitude is to communicate to our community, to our tribes, and to our family what our mission is. That is the principle of Earth. Because Earth is dry sometimes. Sometimes we need to cross the desert. There are dry periods in our lives. There's always also a dry period in every audition is, hopefully not, but sometimes it is. And it's also great. If we have like a dry moment in our audition, we should realize, all right, this is an indicator for me that I need to kind of intensify my behavior here, that I should do something. These people are yawning or sighing or, looking somewhere else, right? I should get their attention back, come up with something. This is usually when our best behavior kicks in because we are thinking through our limbic brains. We're not controlled anymore by our ego, and all of a sudden we're reacting more. And if we have that hour under control because we created structure around our craftsmanship, now we shine. Because this is our most original behavior. This is the core of our intentions, right? Does that make sense? Please let me know in the comment section. Yeah, and this is of course one of the toughest things, right? When we have heaven, we think about tomorrow. That's pretty easy to organize. There are some obvious things, right? There is a talk by Alex Hormozy, a dude that I really like. I mean, his delivery is authentic. I like what he's saying. He has some great content, right? And he talks about the fact that people make such a mystic tale around success sometimes. Like I said, I mean, success or business, it's a list of obvious things. And this is, I think, directly like quoting him as well. Like, success means putting those things to work, right? Okay, I've assessed what's necessary, so there must be now my reaction to it. That's why when I have focus, it's because I'm aligned. I'm aligned with the value proposition of the product that I want to create. And when there is alignment, there is purpose, there is belief, of course, automatically there is the effort of making it better and to improve and to put more and more work into it. And that will lead me to a certain attitude. And the attitude comes from the experience of the work, the sacrifice, and all the heartmanship that we need to put into our work, the sweat, the labor. You get the point. The rejections, the auditions where people turn us down, all the times somebody said, that's a great idea, and I still don't truly get you, and so try it next time. All this stuff, right? We've experienced that, and that builds our second layer, our second skin. That builds our attitude, and attitude is important to build our confidence, because once we have an attitude, that shows that we have experience, that we know what we're talking about. This attitude comes, the attitude doesn't come from just from nowhere. It's our attitude is being built up. Of course, there will always be arrogant people, right? People that are insecure, that act strangely or weirdly, or that, they are playing some type of manipulative game sometimes, or try to kind of wear you down, whatever. There will always be people that will also come from this corner. But I feel like when you have genuine quality and a lot of consistency behind it, that will surface no matter what. And this is when the value comes to work and to play, because real communities, like communities over here on YouTube, we are built on this principle, right? Social media, even though of course it has its dark sides and it's get always negative, feedback from mainstream media, even though sometimes we can even distinguish what social media, mainstream media is nowadays. But you catch my drift, right? We have a lot of pockets of independent communities where we talk about our stuff quite freely, like on Saturday Night Hypnosis. And so therefore, social media sometimes, yes, it gets pictured in a very dark way. But on the other hand, actually, it's a great tool if you think about that. We really can find ourselves here. We can communicate pretty easily, exchange very good information, give ourselves support, and appear in many different shows and give different insights about ourselves and about our business also, right? So this is now the new investment that we need to take. I always say this, like back in the days when people are, I'm old school. I migrated into the digital age, right? I wasn't born with smartphones, right? I witnessed it, like myself, the transition. And so therefore, back in the days, I've experienced it. If people wanted to address their business publicly, they had to invest in print, in mediums, right? To kind of, let them be heard and let them be seen. And that, it was very expensive, right? Magazines, newspaper prints, TV ads, radio ads. It was really expensive to be featured in those ads. And they were not so effective like social media can be today. So I guess like it's always the golden middle, right? The golden ratio of things. So the focus and the effort always puts forth like a chain of obvious actions that you need to undertake. Because here's the thing, the old economy, if you imagine that there is a triangle where you say, hey, I want to create, I have a belief because I want to create something. And around that belief, right, it's just like, what are you believing in? What's your purpose? What's your why, right? What's your highest potential? Yeah, that's super. But if we always start from that system, like, yeah, okay, what is my purpose? What I'm passionate about? I think Hypnotic said it once. You shouldn't be so much, obsessed about what you're passionate about and investing so much time in journaling and kind of taking notes and doing. I mean, these rituals are beautiful. They anchor us in sanity, and they're also great to, of course, enhance our inner perspective. I'm not saying I'm myself. I love to meditate. I love yoga. I love all these little, routines and practice. I love to take down notes and tactical doodles like this one. But once in a while, do the work. And this is also coming back to Alex Hormozi. Sometimes it's more important than not feeling so well or perfectly balanced or so 100% equipped. Sometimes it's just necessary that you do the work, even with inconsistencies. This is how you fail, learn, kind of slip up and get better at it. And also where you kind of grow that attitude that I was talking about previously. You need to kind of grow a second skin sometimes and a thicker layer to your nervous system. That's normal because especially in entertainment industry, in show business, you know, comic book culture. I mean, we see it on YouTube, right? We see it in the communities, how highly discussed it is, how important it is for people because they identify themselves with it. So for those dry times, like I said, you should make sure that you know, hey, this is about to hit me hard because I'm trying to achieve something important here, right? And you see the 5-pointed star for a certain reason. I mean, this is Sun Tzu from, you know, almost 3,000 years ago, and still the 5-pointed star, the pentagram, the pentagon is still one of the most used symbols also in military equipment, right? It describes our army, it describes the regeneration process. Interesting how this symbol kind of, you know, is still echoing till today. Yeah, from the past we hear this continuous call, this stream of resonance that tells us that certain symbols, certain geometries, certain numbers that have some sort of, you know, of kind of intrinsic value that will never extinguish. It's like a timeless code that we should appreciate, right? And so therefore there's something interesting in creating these diagrams and these tactical doodles to really kind of test your subconscious a little bit. You know, see how you reflect on this stuff. And let me also know, guys, of course, what you think about this. Because it's the amount of effort that we put into our work that makes it valuable, not what people pay us for. What people pay us for our art is always just a tiny shrapnel of what we're actually worth. I just had, you know, I don't want to disclose too much because it's a bit political also. I just had this discussion with a client of mine where she was invited to this huge event, really important one, and they asked her to come for free. And, I advised her to not go. And she said, oh, well, this is super important, like, high-ranking people. It's like, yeah, sure, of course, if you want to see it as an investment. But you should see it as an investment after they give you the liberty to choose. Like, do you want your salary, or should we give this into charity, or how you want to use the money, or should we split it up? And then it's about you having control over the exercise of your craft that you trained 30 years for, not asking you preemptively, like almost like a built in some sort of a censorship. Hey, there is no other way for you. You wanna appear on stage. There is no money involved, and we're not even giving something into charity or beneficiary. No, it's just that we have absolutely no budget. It's like, hey, for certain events, you should get a certain amount of money because this is what you worked for 30 years. Otherwise, you're really kind of putting to zero the very essence of our job, because people pay us also by our experience. This is the value that we create over time for ourselves, and we should be proud of that. This is the attitude that I'm talking about, because when focus meets attitude, there is constant success. Let me also know, guys, on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also, jump over to the YouTube channel over here, subscribe to this beautiful channel, and activate the bell, of course, and leave a like. Just smash the like button. It's nice to have people kind of saying, hey, you know what? This costs me 0.000000036 calories. I'm gonna smash the like button. Yeah, I burned some 0.000000036 calories, and I help a fellow YouTube content creator, right? No, but jokes aside, if you tell your community what you're about to do, and you have the consistency, this is the earth principle of Sun Tzu, right? The consistency and the motivation to push through dry periods, then you will conquer your territory before your enemy does. Now, in order to do that, even on the smallest level, we need to understand that, yes, of course, art is personal, right? It needs to develop out of us through our reflections, our actions, all good. But success is not necessarily our art. Success also means to market our art, to build it, to invest it, to tailor a suit around it so we can propose it to a public. Not necessarily because we create art, somebody will stop by and say, hey, you know what, let me just take care of this, right? I'm gonna market a perfect, beautiful model out of this, and then you can reuse it and finally make money and revenue. Because art is different in every endeavor, through every brain and every action. And so therefore, not necessarily because you create something, there is like definitely immediately a market there for it. So maybe you need to open yourself up to other markets, understand how these market works, what fluctuations are there, what is requested, and maybe find people that will also help you to understand, to support you, to sell your art, to get in touch with more, resonant people that will help you to make, the next step. So it is about communicating to your commander, that he should cover some abilities that you don't have. Usually with me, it's great part of the success of the COACHMC studio is me spitting out creative ideas and my wife kind of collecting them and putting them into order and then proposing them to the public and to the audience, right? Because I'm just not so good at it like she is, like the analyzing part and structuring part. Now I'm getting better through consistent reflection over the years. Of course, you study how you can improve, but when you start and you're entering entertainment industry or the arts business, it's really not easy to navigate. So definitely don't be shy to reach out to people. Look out for great coaches, paid people just to come by your place, pay them good money and get some great lessons and tape it and learn it and then write it down and constantly reflect on it and also work on it. Because in the old economy, people believed, hey, I have a certain belief that will get me to a certain action, and therefore I will have a certain result. This is like the value proposition of asking yourself, what you're passionate about. And somehow in this new economy, that is economy of connection, that is economy of awareness, like Warren Buffett said, it's the new oil, right? Awareness, attention is the new gold. If you can create attention and awareness around your product and you are great at communicating your ideas, most likely you've built 80% of the structure that you need to have success. Does it make sense? So what is important is really to understand who can support you there and who can help you there. And if you have to invest money, again, your company should be worth couple of $1 million maybe in the end of your stretch goal, or yourself as a brand, right? You want to make a certain amount of money, or let's translate it into a certain amount of freedom that you want to buy yourself out from the system. Well, the amount of freedom that you want, that should be also the amount at least of energy that you need to invest beforehand. And sure, yeah, sometimes, over here, like I said, when we realized, hey, as a studio, we also need to step up our game. We need to invest in new resources, new material, to look out for people that are smarter than us, network, and also, buying courses, attending workshops and all that. Of course, we had to go through that procedure as well. And we will actually never stop because it turned out to be fun. I'm telling you guys, the self-improvement thing, if you really use it to regulate your success instead of finding your why, because what I'm proposing is basically to look at all this thing and say, I'm gonna reverse engineer the process. It's not about finding my why or my purpose so necessarily. And I get the drift. I was very privileged to find myself as an actor and loving it since I was a kid, but don't let that be like don't be fooled by that story. That is true, but of course I had many deflections from my Polaris. Of course I was sometimes navigating in wrong seas and wrong waters, and of course I put myself out to trouble and I had to correct my course. Just because you found something at a very early stage, sometimes it's even more difficult to stick with it. So whether you found it as a kid or you're just finding this right now, this gift right now, it is still a gift. It's not less valuable. So therefore, whatever may occur, it's not about, oh yes, this is something that I need to love. No, you need to love the result that will come out of this, because that will make you fall in love with the process, which will deliver to you the focus in order to have that constant motivation to produce constantly excellent entertainment. Does that make sense? I said that all a bit slow right now, so in order to let it really trickle in, because usually I'm a fast speaker and I just don't want avalanche over you guys all the time. So let me know, but this is really crucial to this. We should be obsessed about the success, about the result. Because if we reverse engineer the process, then we find ourselves, in front of a very easy crossroad. Like, who am I again? I am like this tree. My perspective is to grow. There is no other perspective for the tree. The tree has this only context in his life. He can't move. He's rooted firmly into the ground. He would love to move sometime, right? I'm sure a tree doesn't always like his fellow neighbor trees, right? So there's definitely some bad neighborhooding going on in the forest as well. Oh, some trees are more grumpy. Some trees are a bit too noisy, right? Some trees are always, a tree. But in the end, he is, this is the eternal promise that he makes to nature. I'm going to stand my ground forever, and you will give me growth forever, right? So as long as I live, I will grow. This is my constant perspective. There is no other perspective in a tree's life. And therefore, if you have a plan of getting to that success, it's not about, hey, what am I passionate about? And once I find that, after 15 years of research, where you spend already 15 years of kind of trying to find what you really love, instead of spending those 15 years in growing, simply growing, just put yourself, expose yourself to work and start growing on that work. And once you overgrown that work, jump to the next and to the next. And when you find something where you finally can express all of your talents and you see that you're getting the, adequate results out of it, then get obsessed about that, because now you're getting obsessed about the result. That will trigger an action, and that will solidify your belief. Does that make sense? Because yes, belief is important, but it's not the one and only thing that you need in order to have success. It's more the consistency to be obsessed about having that success and getting better and better every day. Whatever you do, outwork every environment, because you will take out of every environment the necessary lesson. When I used to, wait tables, and, I was also a cocktail swinger at the bar at night. Of course, waiting tables and serving cocktails wasn't my first prerogative in life. But when I was there, I was trying to be the freaking dominator of the restaurant, of the bar. I was trying to make the most tip, to be the most entertaining, because first of all, I thought, I was telling myself, like, if I have to do this in the middle of the night in order to afford acting school, I might as well also enjoy it. It will cost me some calories more, but that will definitely, get me through the process a bit easier. Instead of just enduring it, I will enjoy it. And second of all, who knows? Maybe one day I will play, a bartender, somebody involved in restoration, hospitality, and this, might come in handy when I kind of, feel the stress levels of this business and try to be really competitive and good at it. And maybe I can use some skills later on for some of my roles. So it's all a learning process. It's all growing. And so I was trying to be really the best bartender. When I was in retail and commerce, when I was selling sneakers at Foot Lockers, when I was having my own merch store, even though in my heart I was still an actor, I was nonetheless very, very competitive and very, very eager to sell better than anyone. And I can tell you, from my own experience, it is beautiful to meet people from your past that you work commercially with, and they still appreciate you and ask you, hey, how are you, man? You were such a great seller. You did such a great job at our bar. Actually, here on Instagram, we just had a beautiful chat with one of my early employers who I was working for in Germany as a bartender and waiter at night, and in the weekends as well during the day. And they say, yeah, you were still, because they saw my new public speaking program that we have over here. By the way, of course, more than welcome to check it out on readytoperform.com. Since it became so popular over the last couple of years, we discovered more and more people wanted to be kind of informed on how to address publicly their thoughts and how to communicate their ideas, sell their companies, pitch their products. They wanted to get better at this. So we included a brand new course in our new course training package. It just was released January 15th. So it's all new stuff, new videos, new content. So you want to check it out for sure, especially if you're in the public speaking sector and want to improve it. We have a great course that will help you in no time. Really, in a matter of weeks, you will just experience how more powerful you will get. And after a couple of months of doing this and implementing the sessions and the assignments that I will give you, you will become a phenomenal speaker, right? No matter if you're an introvert or a super outgoing, outrageous type of a character, right? It's just gonna be your business as well. So definitely check us out on readytoperform.com. No, back to us. It is important, of course, to have purpose, to know that you love that, right? But the thing about, what I want to talk about today is that usually, we allow ourselves too many times to be from questions that are not essential in the beginning, right, of our progress, in the beginning of our development. Hallo, mein lieber Lorenzo, Grüße aus Deutschland, ein Fan von Sturm der Liebe. Maja Manuela Villaret, vielen herzlichen Dank. Einen wunderschönen guten Abend nach Deutschland. Dankeschön. Tina Devilato, ciao. Robert. Oh, who's Robert? No. We as human beings, of course, we love philosophical questions, or for myself, like I can get lost in deep, meaningful conversations with my fellow peers and colleagues, and also on Talks on Acting, right? We just recorded a beautiful session on Talks on Acting, our great show here on YouTube. We just with Sir Darius Blaine, who was also part of the Jumanji franchise. It's gonna be on our channel soon, and he's a great, funny actor, a super persona, great acting teacher as well. And with Talks on Acting, we have these conversations also where we go in different directions, and I could go on forever discussing deep and meaningful stuff, right? Ranging from all sorts and varying from all sorts of topics. But there is nothing more effective when we're talking about really having success in your life with whatever you're burning for, or even not burning for. But if you're really obsessed about that, hey, I have to finally, step out of this ghost existence. What I said in the intro, I really mean that, because this means to be finally obsessed with yourself. This is why Sun Tzu reminds us, hey, before you win a war, you have to ask, who are you? This is so crazy, right? And again, the perspectives of the tree is to grow. So what am I? I'm a curious human being who wants to grow. And who wants to grow, that implies the work. The word Kung Fu, for example, right? The fancy, beautiful martial arts that we see in so many movies, right? And we're so passionate about, well, myself, I'm very passionate about Kung Fu movies, and also practice Wing Chun and other kickboxing styles and all that. And so it's always beautiful to watch these movies. But if you think about the term Kung Fu, it actually means mastering a skill after long period of suffering, or constantly trained to finally master a skill. It has different connotations and different translations, but that's basically it. Mastering the skill, master the skill, then you will have fulfillment. That's the purpose, mastering the skill, not so much asking yourself, hey, what's my purpose? Because again, many people have these great ideas and deep conversations, but what is it that you want to see for yourself in terms of result? Focus on the result, because if you focus on the result, the actions will be automatically implemented. There will be no question, oh, am I lazy? Do I want to do this? Oh, I need to get up early. Oh, tomorrow again. No, you're focused on the result. So, hey, of course, I have to get up tomorrow again. What a privilege. I can work on my result. I can finally get a step closer to my final goal, to my end goal, right? I can achieve actively, out of my own value proposition, in full autonomy, with full control over my method, my instruments, my weapons. I can finally, do something in order to get closer to freedom, to a more complacent lifestyle, to, kind of seeing the things that I wish for myself solidifying in my life, crystallizing and solidifying in my life. Whether that's having a great family or financial success or freedom or being able to travel, whatever that is. And so we live in a time where through our smartphones, right? Again, I'm old school, but I have to admit that the power of this thing is humongous, right? And through that, we connect to the world, communicate our ideas, present our portfolios, tell about our stories for free. I mean, yes, our time, of course, and of course our dedication, effort, skills. But hey, we get better through that. It's not that social media is requesting something from us that we will never be able to use. Because back in the days when we were kind of inserting those ads in the magazines and in those radio ads and also public ads, we were not really doing anything, right? There was no skill requested from us. We were just requesting the ad, paying the money. The marketers were coming up with a funny tagline. Sometimes they were having like a revision if you were a more important client, but usually they would just print it right away, insert it in the ad, and you had basically like zero leverage, just small leverage and control over the output, over the final product. Nowadays, you have total control. So there is nothing to complain. It's just to do. If you have your final result, then you automatically have the actions. Not executing them is foolish. Then you need to be self-accountable and realize, hey, all right, I'm not doing the work, so I don't deserve the success. Okay, but otherwise, don't tell me it's about the purpose. Because if the purpose is still sitting on your couch after 15 years and you're still not happy and you're still not satisfied and you still haven't used your potential, that's a sin, that's a shame, that's a waste of energy. You should do that. Yeah, use your time, use your energy, use your beautiful, manifold, crazy character facets to make yourself heard, to step out of the ghost cage and finally be in appearance, because it's called show business for a reason. So show yourself. Yes, out of focus, we have a philosophy. Philosophy gives birth to culture and identity, right? Because through the culture that aligns with our philosophy, again, it's focus, alignment, and therefore value. We get also a social climax around our product. And that is, of course, based on a generous attitude that we're always ready to produce that. That's why our course is also ready to perform.com, right? Because only that generous output will make you strong. When it's not generous, it's full of flaws, it's full of suspicions, it's full of doubt, right? And it's not fruitful. It's not potent anymore. Mi trovo a Lussemburgo, voglio venire a trovarti più, vedo la tua peste da morte. Yes, come over to Miami. Sei italiano, come mai parli l'inglese? Because I live in the United States and therefore, over here we speak English. What can I say? Ciao. Ciao ragazzi. Ciao ragazzi. In America si parla l'inglese, YouTube parla l'inglese, il mondo parla l'inglese. So I speak English as well. Effort, if it's effective, then it's straightforward. Then you're using the least amount of energy to have the maximum result. How do you know that it's always that effortless and that effective? Well, there are some vectors, right? Just this is again also Alex Hormozy, but in a way, this is everybody's talking about that. Just reverse engineer the process. Ask yourself, what do you think a successful actor needs to look like on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis? What do you think a successful actor, like, what is it that we do? And therefore you can say a successful person, because you can break this down. You don't even have to say actor. What is it that you think a successful person needs to do? Act successfully with his faculty during the day on his value proposition, right? Right. So coming back to Sun Tzu, what should I do tomorrow? I should record a new monologue, send it out to my agent, and press for putting this into my new show reel, because maybe it's featuring finally English, and so I want to present myself also to the international and the co-productions. So I need a coach who speaks English, right, who kind of coaches me through the process, and then I need to record this. So I need a cameraman to assist me. So I call out for one, I search out for one, and I contact him. So I pay him, he comes over, I prepared the text, I got myself there, I send it out to my agent. So I press him to send this out, to include this in the portfolio. So my first edition comes in, bada boom. It's what I do the next day. I enforce. And if I need to learn something, I improve. Is this effective? You know it by asking yourself the reverse engineer question. It's just simply like a successful person does this, it enforces constantly. If I'm not enforcing, I'm deviating from my successful course, right? I'm moving out of my vector line to success, which is the path of least resistance for the maximum result. So when I'm doing that, I know I'm not on the right track. Persistence is important because that shapes our determination, right? Through our determination, we will take our failures with humor, right? If we don't turn this into a negative or toxic obsession, and we always stay on the humorous side, the positive side of things, even if it's hard to swallow, believe me, you know, when you're an actor, there are many bitter pills that you need to swallow, right? It's just a matter of a fact, right? Because your work is very intimate. It's not just a replication or reproduction, or you're just an execution of an assignment. It's a personal, you know, development. It also comes through the self-exploration. So whenever a director's telling you, hey, this is bullshit, you need to change your attitude, this is not working, right? I don't like to see that anymore. It's like, wow, that hurts you, right? So there are moments where it hurts, where it's unnecessary, where you're just tired and you just kind of, you know, too sensitive. You know, there are many moments on set, but, you know, in the creative endeavor, you know, it's always a very personal and very entrenched type of labor. So therefore, whenever you're getting rejections and no's and pushbacks, of course, we take it personally, but you shouldn't that much. You should immediately kind of turn this in a humorous way and say, hey, all right. That hurts, but, you know, it hurts for a reason. So I get thicker skin, I get better with my attitude, I will have more confidence, and therefore for the right role, finally, I will be poised, and I will finally transmit my best quality and do what's necessary in order to satisfy the status quo, and also to, you know, add something personal on top, and that will give me the winning breakthrough. So the universe prepares us for those unique challenges in sometimes crazy ways, right? But again, it's all paying a certain amount of money into this universal bank account, and when the time comes, you can withdraw, baby. Ding, ding. All right. So great work. Great work. Show that you expect nothing else, you know. So you show yourself that you expect nothing else than get paid for what you think is adequate for your performance. And that, of course, puts you in the position to, you know, show great work. So what I want to say with this is, you put yourself out there, you create content, you make sure that you get seen, you make sure that you get noticed, you're playing a big card here. Once you get called to the audition, you have to show, you know, with the work that you're presenting as the character, you need to show the amount of money that you want to get paid for. This is a great way to focus, because to me, it kind of switches. It switches the focus from, it's turning it from inside to outside. I don't get so pressured anymore. It's like, sure, that makes sense. It's not about me. It's like, hey, all right, I want to earn this, right? This is where this work needs to put me. I want to achieve certain things. This movie is a stepping stone, or, you know, one of those portals, right, that will get me there. And therefore, my work, my consistency, my determination, and my humorous, like, positive attitude needs to match that level of expectation that I have, you know, for the outcome to be. So the accolades that I want to win, it's the you know, the investment that I have to make, and also in terms of great work, like really enticing and beautiful work. Put it out there. Don't complain. There are always thousands of excuses, but there is no one good reason to not perform on the, you know, most formidable levels each and every time we get called to action. Make sure to follow us also on YouTube, guys, and smash the subscribe button, because we have like a library over 300 videos, over 200 videos, where there's so many, you know, beautiful containers of great knowledge that will help you to do exactly that. Whenever you get called to action, to exclude everything else and just plunge yourself into the character and enjoy this magnificent ride. It's really a privilege to be there, right? So when we understand that certain aspects of our effort, they come from, of course, preparing and knowing what the result is, you know, what the result should look like. But here's the thing, our capitalization, what we have to propose to the people is, again, coming back to the tree. The tree is a genius type of of pictogram, because in a very easy way, it conveys many messages at the same time. The tree has profound roots. Every human being has that too. And we get our nutrients from the roots. Never forget that. Your soil is your ingredient. If you renounce your soil for whatever reason, you're refusing to accept, biggest chunks of your potential. So whatever you deem your childhood, your upbringing to be like quality-wise, I mean, I'm coming from a divorced household, and it wasn't easy, right? And there were many, many times where, I had the opportunity to complain and kind of throw the towel into the ring and say, you know what, because of this and that, I wasn't able to fulfill my mission. But I always turned it around. I said, my ingredient is my soul. And so therefore, this is where I'm coming from. This is what, my roots are teaching me. And I'm going to use that no matter what. I'm going to turn this around. I'm not going to let whatever troubled childhood defeat me before I even try it. At least I'm going to try it. And since I don't have nothing else to lose, the only thing that I can prove to myself is that I can use my upbringing, that I can use my soil, and to investigate my roots, where I'm coming from. What does that mean? And to fall also in love with your roots, whatever your tradition, whatever your roots are. And then, of course, over time, this will change. Of course, you will take a different look onto your past, onto your heritage, to your father, to your mother, to your family. Of course, that will always change. But in a way, accepting that, no matter how good or bad your roots are, is part of you. So you can't really cut this thing out or suppress it. That's just unnecessary energy, and you're wasting it on the wrong end. I feel like putting it in, analyzing it what it is, smiling about it, and say, fuck you, right? If it's not working for me, I'm going to do something else, which doesn't mean that there are not some cherries that I'm going to use for myself, because not everything happens for a bad reason. Bad things happen, but they can be also for a good reason. Because everything that we learn, in the end, instructs us to get better, if we accept it, right? And this is like, it wasn't easy for me, believe me. But like the tree, we have to, build that thick crust, that, thick layer. We need to force our heart, our core, make sure that whatever storm may occur, it won't hit us. We will have effort, focus, effort, and this is our value up here. This is our result. So our beliefs, we don't show them because our roots are, of course, unknown to the public. What we show them is how we grew up. They can, of course, right now witness that. But then in the end, our value, how our success comes in, the forces that we can attract for ourselves, that this is the price that we get in the end. And it's absolutely worth it to fight for it. Also to fight for great quality, for great work, to have alignment with what you do. And to step out, like I said in the beginning, out of that ghost existence. Now, the thing is, it is easy to stay in the shadows, right? Because, getting embarrassed is not nice. But in the end, it's part of the game. And first of all, what is embarrassment? It's just, if you believe you are alone, this is what we also said yesterday during our recording on, this show, really, I will remind you guys also through my Instagram posts, and you can also subscribe to my Telegram channel as well, but definitely make sure to check out my next Talks on Acting episode. I'm sure you're going to love it. Sir Darius Blaine was a great guest and said stupendous things, but it's always the conversation, the quality, I felt like was on a very high level. So, and yesterday we said that, it's of course important to fail and to be embarrassed sometimes. But what is embarrassment in the end? Embarrassment is just realization. And in the moment you realize that you are deprived of a tool, of an instrument, of a weapon, that in order to not receive that embarrassment anymore, in the moment you realize that there is scarcity in your offering, in your creative offering, you got to make sure that you get that back into your system, that you will work for getting better tools so this embarrassment won't occur again. So I feel like there is no bigger catalyst Whether you're a seasoned actor, you're a master of your craft, or you're just starting out, to be embarrassed sometimes, this is a great way of realizing, wow, I still have a lot of work to do, right? Or I definitely know what went wrong today. And embarrassment can also come, don't get me wrong. It's not always, oh, yes, it's your fault, right? You haven't prepared enough, you haven't worked enough. It's not always that. Embarrassment can also come from serving too much, right? When you are over catering, it gets too much, right? And that's embarrassing again. I can give you a personal example here. For many years with my mom, we had this winery store, beautiful restaurant, 15 years, very successful, great design, amazing food. And I served, wine. Sometimes I was just, waiting tables there as well, taking care of business. And so sometimes we would have like important guests. Sometimes restaurant owners, big restaurant owners, or Michelin star chefs, like, people that you also from the, restaurant community that you cherish, that you find like top people. And I would overcommit to serving them, to make it a better place, I would do too much. And that is embarrassing as well, right? So because it's too much, right? It's like nice that you're dedicated, but when you're overcommitting, it's not truthful anymore. Nobody believes you anymore. It's like, yeah, all right, we get it. You're great at this, but you're not really believing it. So therefore it was dishonest behavior, and that is embarrassing, right? I'm still embarrassed about, certain episodes in the restaurant where I thought, yeah, I was overcommitted. I maybe even ruined some guests or tables that probably didn't come back because of me, because I felt like, oh no, he's going to deliver his show again. I want to go somewhere quiet to eat something fancy and don't want to be bothered too much. And through my overcommitment, I bothered the guest, which is ultimately like the biggest sin of a great restaurant owner, right? He should never annoy his public, his clientele, his guests, right? That's definitely not our mission. So I did the one thing that I shouldn't do by trying to want too much out of one performance. And that is sometimes also the reason why we fail, for sure. But again, it's not really failing; it's just learning. And so your relevance comes into place when you finally step out of your ghost existence. And you usually are just stepping out. People when telling me, oh, you know what, coach, I think I'm depressed. Yes, that's why you spend that much money. That's why you're here. That's why you look so fine. That's why you have your cologne on. That's why you traveled, to attend the session, right? You took a lot of time out of your schedule because you were depressed. No, here everything is fine, but when I go home, I'm depressed. It's like, you're not depressed, right? You're just demoralized that you're not using your faculties effectively. That's it. It's when we realize that, because we do realize it, right? Sometimes we want to suppress it, and then we do stuff like, drinking alcohol or abusing substances, or like even, sometimes the overcommitment to sport. I feel like to, athleticism where it's inappropriate. Sometimes I feel like this is an escaping mechanism as well. So we're using these mechanisms of escapism, right? Of exiting our conscious and of our bad conscious by overcommitting to something else. And that therefore creates like a toxic feedback loop. And it's really not what we're striving for, right? It's really actually the exact opposite. It's creating something where we finally feel this is something real. I can bring myself into this. This will get better and bigger through me as long as I will improve, this will improve. And then you get passionate about it over time. Because you get passionate, you get addicted to your own achievement, to the achievement of your character. And you want to, step up that game. And through the achievement of your character, you achieve also financially, business-wise, in your art, in pretty much every field. So again, I'm reverse engineering the process. I'm trying to understand what is unsustainable in the way that I approach my craft. What should be why I'm stagnating. What is it? Because it's nothing new that I do. So I should do new stuff. I should force myself to go out of my uncertainty cage and step into unknown territory, right? I should give relevance to my existence by really using my time. And when there are time crunches, like let's say I'm now committed to digital content creation and there is a time crunch now going on, you know, note that, make a note about that. Why is the time crunch going on, right? Don't just suffer, just experience it, right? Don't just be a slave to this, be, you know, observant of it, right? Don't just, you know, suffer the consequences, try to impose your will onto your schedule. Understand, when are those crunches happening, for what reason, can I delegate my time better, is there a way to organize my workflow that I can include this previously if this is a time crunch that will always occur because there's something that I can't erase out of my schedule, right? If you again put effort and focus into these things, then you will see they become important, and then you will develop that resilience, right? The persistence that will just show you that now you're creating something that you're passionate about. And that will, you know, translate into attitude, which will, of course, solidify in confidence, which, you know, ultimately will attract your customers, whether that's a casting director, a company, somebody who wants to, you know, profit from your art or from your services, right? Because, you know, there is nothing better than having a confident, you know, presentation and communication of your ideas. So you change the narrative. Right? You emotionally reverse engineer the process and say, okay, I understand that if I have diminishing returns because the way that I'm living is unsustainable and that I'm stagnating also in my development, you know, I change the narrative and say, you know, what is it the result that I want to achieve? Let's say in the next 3 months, then in the next 6 months, in the next year. And I have to make sure that in this process, right, I demonstrate this expertise that I'm, you know, kind of accumulating now, that I prove to myself that this is working, reaching out to new people, networking, trying, you know, continuously trying to test your knowledge, bring in also customers and trying to, you know, find solutions. Because in the end, you know, your content has high value, right, and is very potent, as long as it gives value and as long as it's also fulfilling your brand building. Because if your value proposition is not aligned or consistent with your brand proposition, then you have a cognitive dissonance, and then you don't really know what you're proposing. But if the alignment of what you're doing personally and then what your brand relation is with the public, if that is again in one vector, then you are, you know, it's again 3 warriors cut with 1 strike. Now you're finally putting really water onto your mill because you're working more effectively. In less time, you're achieving more. So there is this idea that you can create accidental success, and I believe that to be true. Again, that's coming back to the concept that sometimes we're too entitled. We think we have all solutions, we need to have all answers, that we are solely responsible for our success. And let me know also on Facebook and Instagram what you think about this, guys. But I don't think that necessarily to be true, because when we produce great content and we you know, put great effort and have great focus on our creative work, what will come through that is automatically, and I will give you an example, like when you start kind of creating a YouTube channel because you want to, you know, reach out to more, you know, potential clients and students, but also to have a library of, you know, many different videos that kind of implement the work and the exercise that you do with your clients on a daily basis. You know, you're not thinking about, you know, necessarily the YouTube success. It's more like giving you more exposure. You see it as a marketing tool, as a branding tool. But the accidental success is that, you know, you get better at YouTube, right? You need to study a lot. You need to kind of, you know, learn and like educate yourself in navigating this new ecosystem, right? And in this case, my wife, who's taking care of all the you know, the phantom work, right? She had to overcome many difficulties, need to find out a lot of things. I had to kind of, think in ways of creating titles and interesting and very compelling ways of market the videos and how we, create thumbnails together. So you create a lot of accidental success, a lot of stuff that will come in handy for later endeavors. What I'm trying to say with that is that not necessarily do we always see what kind of purpose or success we're about to achieve with focusing on one matter, because the associated disciplines sometimes that we need to learn in order to master the first discipline, sometimes they become even more precious than the original value proposition, which is really crazy, because all of a sudden, through the marketing, through the branding, through the networking, through the content that gets also recommended to us through the network and the algorithm, we finally can use this tool in way more, ingenious ways than we actually thought of it could, be used for in the first place. And so accidental success means also just be aware that when you create great work, there's a lot of great work associated with that initial great work. And you will never know how and when you can use that secondary great work for your principal quest, right? If that's not too convoluted and too complicated. But I think you understand my drift. There's a lot of secondary and accidental success that is coming quite naturally when you try to create content a lot, when you try to be a very prolific digital content creator, or a creator of your own art and market that effectively in an adequate way. You need to kind of inform yourself on so many different topics. So therefore, yes, sometimes that can be also discouraging if you don't have a great assessment of what is necessary. So the preparation, of course, the investment and that you put into this, think about this. Your audience, whether that's the casting director, whether that's, your mother or, your YouTube community, your audience is taking time to watch you, right? To appreciate your work. And thanks so much, guys, to the audience that we have here tonight. It's just amazing to have you all here. And all, we have 31 likes. I think we never collected 31 likes. This is really amazing. So far, the stream is in 1 hour, and we already kind of topped all of our records. So therefore, I'm really grateful also to the Facebook and Instagram community. Again, please subscribe to the channel. It goes such a long way to support our endeavors over here, right? And it helps us also to program the shows, to have that type of clarity, to know that this value proposition is being liked by our audiences. Gives us a great boost and a lot of confidence in our work as well, and kind of encourages us to produce more and to think of more creative ways to entertain and inform you. And so this is matching exactly what I'm trying to say. Think about the end result, your audience, and think about how you want them, to entertain, and think about the time that the audience took, right, to be there, to dress up, to prepare to this exhibition, right? Again, whether that's your mother or the casting director, or whoever gets to enjoy your creative output. So respect their time. Don't take it for so granted that somebody will, nowadays, this is maybe the more darker part about this, right? We get so used to the fact that we can watch so many people like this, like, hey, I don't want to burn my 0.000000036 calories to kind of give a like to a person, right? No, I don't want to do that. I just swipe up, right? Which to me is it's like, hey, there's somebody who prepared something and he put a lot of work into this probably. And so therefore, yeah, if you have it there and you're watching it for more than 3 seconds, by all means, invest those 0.000000036 calories, right? Also here, right, you're more than welcome to smash the like button even further than already what we have collected today. But what I mean is, like, they took their time to watch your material. So, that's a lot of respect that they're paying to you. So pay them respect as well, by having material that has a great preparation, that you invested a lot of time in this too, that you know exactly what you're doing, right? That you have full substance about your value proposition. That full substance means really full substance. Like, yeah, I feel I can go in many directions today. Let's see what the audience gives me, to be like ready for that, ready to perform, like we always say. This is, I think, one of the most important things here, because that's result-driven action, commitment. Result-driven means, hey, I want to propose something that has, high value, that is potent, that gives people an emotional push, that will demonstrate something, right? That, will open their eyes. And, this is, when we constantly do that, it becomes some sort of a habit. And once it's a habit, it's a natural reflex to our day, to our weeks, to our month. And all of a sudden we have, books and notes and research and journals, and it's all full of our own thoughts, of our own actions. And this is where we finally find ourselves accountable. Hey, look what I've produced. Let's go through this stuff. Maybe there are some good ideas hidden here where I never thought I could find something interesting. Because all of a sudden, it's so easy to look out and be so, just blinded by the lights and great ads and great companies. And of course, when a company is big and it has a big ad, we attribute authority to these companies, to these powerful logos and to these great colors. And therefore, we sometimes diminish our authority. But we have as much authority as these companies, because if we stop buying their products, then these companies will disappear. And so what makes them buy our product then? Our authority, of course, our value proposition. And it's whether you're Apple or just a single freelancer, trying to make some content creation and to cut some reels for Instagram influencer, it doesn't really matter, right? It's the same process over and over again. It's the same love and dedication for your work. Dexinar O or zero, Dexinar 0. Time management has always been a weakness I have. Thank you for the good advice. Oh, thank you so much for stopping by. And also thank you for this comment, for this feedback. Yeah, I think, and Dexinar 0 is like, hail Coach and Hippo for sure. Hail to the bigot army, to all of our beautiful panel members. And you can also, Dragon Slayer commentaries. I can't get rid of this guy. He has no home. He's a dragon, and so he needs a place to stay. So he's gonna show up once in a while during this year. We're gonna discuss a lot of stuff like Greek mythology. You can check them out and other nerd content, and so it's gonna be a crazy ride with him as well. So definitely check his channel out too. Sophian Cool One. Hi. Bester Schauspieler, bester actor. Thank you so much. I feel like, time management is the thing that most people find unsexy to do, and me included, because I'm an artist, right? What do I need time management for? But I'm telling you, right? And I'm not gonna, but since this thing is in my life, right, my schedule, right, and I see. Like it's also giving me a different feedback, and finally having a roadmap, a strategic method on how to plan my weeks and my months, and to know exactly where my purpose, where my focus is, what I want to achieve. Coming back also to Sun Tzu, right? What is my 5-pointed star type of blueprint of success for the year? Since I started doing more and more and intensively, it kind of changed my attitude towards the day and towards the people I'm coaching also, because now I see them as way more valuable. They're part of my time, they're part of my engagement, of my effort. So therefore, I want to make the best out of it. I don't want to just exchange time for money, or give them some good advice and let them do, right? It's an exchange, because I want to use even the time that I take out of my schedule to coach people. I want to even use that time as a reflection. So mostly I record the sessions, I take constant notes, right? I send them also my worksheets, and this is like sometimes more like a dialogue. Of course, not every client wants it that way, but with a lot of my students and of my clients, I feel like we have a long-term dialogue more than anything, more than a business relationship, which makes it really beautiful, because again, once you're relaxed, poised, and confident, you get a lot of your own system, and you also tickle a lot of the counterpart's brain system, and it's a very fruitful process. So both win, right? And I want to win, right? It's as easy as that. So I think for today, guys, we call it a day, right? I think we had a very interesting ride. We had a lot of viewers. I want to thank the creative community out there on Facebook and Instagram. We had definitely the most likes since we've ever launched this program, this show. Again, we have a great masterclass coming up. It's the 16th of March. It's 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time. It's Audition Tip Volume 3. Such a great one. It kind of completes the program. You might as well, check out the previous two ones. They're kind of building themselves up on top of each other, but they can also be, viewed singularly, because for themselves they contain a lot of great knowledge on how to master the audition, how to assess it, from the fundamentals from Volume Tips 1 over to this a bit more specific, a bit more complicated and a bit more complex one. But where we're talking about the beauty of performing, having control of the room, really sending out your best material and being transparent in your reaction. So therefore, definitely join in. We have a final Q&A session afterwards. You can, for a half hour, kind of ask me anything you want. And this is a great way also to network, meet other fellow creators. You can find the link down here on Eventbrite or through my link tree on Instagram. More than welcome also to check us out on Telegram. Subscribe there. There's always some fun stuff going on, some more personal note, some artsy stuff going on Instagram as well. Every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday Night Hypnosis with the bigger leader and the crazy panel following him into our nemesis. And the next open doodle class is coming our way on Tuesday, and it's gonna be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's gonna be another beautiful look into the creative world, tactical doodles for success. Definitely don't miss out on that one. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Thanks so much for the comments, for the conversation. I hope you got the most value out of this. Have your value proposition clear, map your plans, and really plan your map, right, strategically, so you know what you're executing, you know what you have to do on a day-to-day basis, but you never forget your Polaris, your trajectory, your ultimate goal. This is the mission that we have, distribute as much value that you can, be generous, and it will come back to you. I'm sure about that. If you want to hit me up for a free trial discovery session, also, contact me through my message link on my website, readytoperform.com. For any further question, you can also DM me on Instagram. It's fantastic for you that you stopped by today, and I see you on the next one. And now I believe you're ready to perform.